Alrighty, folks, I want to propose a question to the one and only Casey from Brick by Brick. And actually, I'm gonna twist and turn this question into two different flavors. The first one is, what would have to happen to stop her from buying real estate? And then second, we will pivot after that and go into what would need to happen where she would tell others to stop buying real estate. Ha ha. A and B. Casey, what's going on? Let's talk about A, and we will both answer this. What would cause you and I to stop buying real estate? Ladies first.
Well, I feel like there would be a lot of different factors that would have to be happening. I mean, there's like stop buying real estate today, stop buying real estate forever. I mean, a lot of those things, I mean, those are big words, those are big assumptions.
Yeah.
One thing is, when would I stop buying real estate? Well, first of all, when deals no longer cash flow, yes, you could change strategies and go to different people who are already doing that. They're already going rent by the room. California used to cash flow long time ago. Cash flow, easy money, easy money, easy, easy. And now people are doing rent by the room. They're building EDUs. They're changing the strategy. So like, when would I stop buying? When deals no longer cash flow. On the other hand, you could change strategy. But for me, look somewhere else is the first thing. I know there's so many people that will change strategies and shiny object syndrome, but I know we're also, innate for just do what you're good at doing and just keep doing it. To constantly have to change and learn and start off from scratch. I mean, I've been doing real estate, for a long time, and long-term rentals for a decade. So for me to now change strategies, I don't think I want to start at the beginner level and make the mistakes and do all that. I would rather just go buy somewhere else. So until the whole country is free and clear and wiped clean of any cash flow opportunity, I'd probably first step, if there's no more cash flow near me, go look somewhere else before I really start off at ground zero and start a new strategy. That's just me.
No, I think it's kind of where my mind went as well, asking me that question. I think I'm living by example, right? So again, for 20 years, Olivia and I would do 2 or 3 deals a year. I retire in 2018. I actually started flipping. I flipped 56 properties, anything from a house to a sixplex, inside of, call it 30 months. So what is that? Two a month roughly. Frankly, because I was bored. I had a team and all that stuff. I ended up having multiple teams. And then we got to kind of like 2022, and I'm like, hey, the world's different. Rates are changing, need to step out. So since 2022, what have I done? So I bought 2 rentals. I bought a duplex and a house that were essentially, referrals from people I know, really weren't on the market. And then obviously we bought our forever home in Vegas. That's really all I've done. I certainly have done a lot of looking. I was shopping. I did a series called Buying in Vegas. I didn't want the headache. And again, like you, I was changing strategies. Like one of the things you can do in Vegas is you can buy inside a couple of hotels, and then just Airbnb it. Right. So there was that opportunity. I looked at it. I'm like, that's too different. That's new. Obviously you talk about rent by room. That's new and different. Adding ADUs, new and different. And I really came to the point of, like you, I don't want to start at the beginning. Right. That's kind of my answer in 2015 or 14 when I was looking at other markets. Right. We flew to Texas. We spent like 2 weeks in Texas, San Antonio, Houston, Dallas, I think really quickly, maybe even Austin. We went to Colorado. I think we even went to Reno. And I was like, I don't want to build a team again. Right. That's always been my, I've already paid the price. I already got my, my scars, my well-earned scars. And I don't want to go open those again. So, and then I guess the last thing that I want to, it's funny. I just had a conversation with Coach Carson just before this about the word enough, because I think there's a lot of investors that get to that enough and then they just go bigger, and going bigger just to go bigger you can blow up. And, as somebody who frankly started his real estate journey after blowing up in the stock market, I lost 80% and felt like a complete failure. I'm not doing that again. I'm not going to blow up what I already have to become a billionaire or something silly like that. So
Yeah.
there's lots of reasons why I wouldn't buy, but again, I've been doing this for 25 years. I've got my chips, and yeah, my hope is to put 2 more scalps on the board. I'd love to do 2 more apartment deals, probably 40 to 50 units if I could make my magic wand. But then I'm going to be done, right? Olivia and I have a promise to each other. By the time I'm 65, and I'm a lot closer to that than I want to admit, we're not doing anymore, right? We've never met a 65-year-old real estate investor that does a good job. So we're going to start unwinding, as soon as I turn 65. So
I only
have a small window.
I love that. Your window is shrinking, Michael.
I know it's happening.
I know. One thing though that, I just thought about is things that we don't have control over that might make us not want to invest anymore. And one of those things that's changing rapidly, especially in, the Eastern and Western states, is property rights. Who has rights over your property that you own? And I think that the more, that the government has their little, hands entwined into our ownership, the less lucrative renting is going to be, because you won't have control over your property and you'll be the one responsible for it. So I think, if those sorts of rules start really having an impact and become more nationwide, I think that could be really detrimental to the rental market as a whole for everybody, the renters and the owners. And I think that could really make some big changes quickly, with people changing their minds on wanting to own investment properties.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say here, and you sparked this idea, and then we're going to get to part 2 of this conversation when we recommend others don't buy real estate, because I think that's going to be a more interesting conversation. The last thing I'll say here is heaven forbid, some health event happens to me in the next couple of years, right? And it's again, I'm not wishing this on myself. I'm just being honest. If something like that happened, I guarantee you we would stop buying. We would probably start liquidating, so that this empire we built is a little more manageable for Olivia if something happened to me, right? So let's just throw that out there as well. Just being real and not dark or pessimistic. But if I've learned nothing in life is, tomorrow's not promised to anybody. We've seen some crazy things happen, and bad stuff happen. So if that were to go that direction, yeah, you better believe we're net sellers. Heaven forbid something like that happens. All right, so let's switch gears, because this actually might be more fun. You and I help people all the time. That's why we're on this channel, is to help them. What would it take for you to tell people not to buy or invest in real estate?
Well, I'll tell you, I tell people that all the time. I talk to new people looking to get started in real estate all the time. And I have the hard question, well, where are you at financially? Where are you at in your life? All the marriage or the partner and all those things are important too. But, the main thing is, can you afford it? Yeah. And a lot of people want to start investing in real estate because they are tired of their day job, or they want financial freedom. But I really feel like if you want to make sure that you are not putting yourself in a bind, putting your family's finances or home at risk, you really do need to start with some sort of money of your own. Not only borrowing from a HELOC. I know we talked about this like last week or so. Not only borrowing from your 401k, or not only using a hard money lender and all I have is, $3,000 and I'm going to use a hard money lender and flip houses, or, I'm putting all of my chips on the table. So when I would tell people not to invest is if you can't afford to take a little bit of risk, even if you have a mentor or you have taken courses or whatever, there's always a chance that something happens. I mean, my students never, as I'm aware of, have there been like anyone has regretted or made huge mistakes or lost money. But still, like I said, I talk to people all the time, and I go, come back next year. Like, you've got to make sure that you don't have credit card debt, that you are, financially stable and can afford to do this, and it isn't putting strain on your family. Yes, you can use some HELOC or whatever, but if you don't have any cash, this isn't for you. And that's what I say. Like, you really have to, have something.
Yeah. It's funny, I just want to just go a little deeper in that, because you said it, but I think the most important line there is if you have the wrong goals, right? Real estate investing is a get rich for sure. It takes a decade. There's a lot of people that come at this game and go, I hate my job and I want to replace my income, and rentals are going to be how I do it. I'm like, yeah, maybe in a decade, right? If you're trying to do it tomorrow, good luck. Right. It's not happening in this game. So yeah, if you have the wrong goals or wrong expectations, go do something else. Go trade crypto.
That's it. The wrong expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the one people hear it online all the time. Yeah. Get rich quick tomorrow. You can do this, little money, no credit, all those things.
Yeah. Airbnb arbitrage. Remember that when that was the secret, right? Yes. You're gonna illegally sublease properties. Oh my God.
Build a business off somebody else's property that they cannot renew your lease. There's so many reasons why I would never do that.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. Well, here's the one for me. And I get asked this all the time. And because I believe being a real estate investor takes focus, AKA buy box, and discipline daily. So, but the question is, can you articulate in 60 seconds or less what an average deal is in your buy box? Most people don't even know what that question means. They don't know what a buy box is. They don't know what average is. They're like, just give me a deal. I'm like, man, you are destined for failure.
Yeah.
At least hard years, because you have no grasp on this game. So again, I tell people all the time, you're not ready, right? I ask them, like, what's an average deal in your buy box? And they're like, duh, I don't know. What's a buy box? I'm like, well, sorry.
And then when people only look at the numbers, it's like, oh, well, it looks like good on paper. Here's the numbers. It's like, what about the neighborhood? You know, exactly. Like, your numbers
Excel lies.
And then tomorrow you get a full remodel again. Aren't you excited for that? Another, 10 to 15 down the drain.
Yeah, exactly. Like I follow the 1% rule. Well, you're following the 1% rule into the wall, because that's going to take you to the wrong part of town.
10 years ago we could do that. With fives.
Yeah. The other thing I want to, because I get accused of this all the time online, which is, I just think it's crazy. I actually think most people shouldn't buy, because I don't think most people are disciplined. Most people don't have focus. Most people are gambling. A lot of the country, it's cheaper to rent than buy. There's only 5% of the population that's willing to do the work, write disrespectful offers, follow up. Those are the 5% I'm talking to. The other 95% should just, I don't know, go trade stocks or something, because it takes work. It takes focus. It takes discipline. And most Americans are none of that.
I know people, they want to get rich quick. And I know I say all the time, so tired of even hearing myself say it, but it's true. We want instant gratification. We want things to happen right now, and we aren't willing to do the work. And then when you tell people it's going to take a decade, they're like, okay, what else is there?
I'm out of here.
I wanted to retire tomorrow, next year. It's like, okay, well, did you not do the work the previous 10 years to be able to do that? You can't just say, well, now I'm ready to do the work. Great. Now you get 10 more years. Like from whatever age you start, if you aren't ready. Now, the more money you have, the faster you can speed it up, But if you're
don't go too fast. Don't go too fast.
Right. But whatever is your comfort zone. I mean, I saw, I don't know if you know Investor Girl Britt. I haven't been on Instagram much lately, but I saw her. She had a post, whatever. I saw it yesterday or today, and it was like, I used to, a house cost me, when my house would cost me, $300,000. Now I buy this $300,000 Chanel necklace or whatever. Like, so people's references for money changes the more you have. So your risk level change, well, some people would be hard pressed to like $30,000 is like, right. Never. People are spending $30,000 on a week vacation. So
different levels.
It's like the more money you have, the little bigger risk you can take. Property still costs the same, and you could kind of expedite that, but yes, don't go overboard.
Yeah.
To lose it all for sure.
Yeah. So if I want to summarize point 1 and point 2 for me, and then I'll let you do the same as we wrap this up. Point 1 for me is you got to have the right expectations.
Yeah.
Right. And, Olivia and I have been doing this 25 years. We've gotten to the point where we have enough and our life is good. We'll probably do 1 or 2 more moves again before we unwind. And then point 2, I don't think most of you should invest. right? I think there's 5% of the population that's willing to do the work, be disciplined, write disrespectful offers, follow up 17 times. For those people, good hunting, good luck. For most of you, go trade stocks, go pay cash for things, Dave Ramsey. It's okay. This real estate thing is not for everybody. And I would argue it's not for most of you. But if you're in the game and doing the work, God bless. Let's go. Casey, what are your summaries and wrap?
I would say my summary would make us, overall stop buying real estate if a lot of things kind of collided at once. The government became completely overbearing. There was nothing in our area. All that was left was complete crap, and I didn't want to buy it that cash flowed, or I didn't feel like I wanted to put as much money into these properties. If I could significantly get more in the stock market, buying a small business, or in some other, thing that was worth my time to learn versus high regulation, only properties in the dumps. Like, I'm just because I know it doesn't mean I'm going to make bad choices and bad decisions. So that would force me into probably having to start from scratch, learn something new or whatever. And then for everybody else, don't do real estate if you can't afford the risk initially. Have the time and know that there's some work to be done. It is worth it. And once you get the first one or two under your belt, it's easy, it's fun. It's just like it's on repeat. It's the same thing. You repeat it over and over. You go through the learning curve once, and yes, everyone always still learns. You're always learning, but the main learning curves are done after the first or second. Like, I get it now. It becomes easier and it's not as difficult. But you do have to make sure that you're prepared for this first one or two with your finances and your time.
I love it. Casey, you're amazing. Where can they find you?
People can find me every day on YouTube, Brick by Brick Wealth. And if you want to see what I'm up to or how you can work with me, you can check out my website, brickbybrickwealth.com.
Thank you so much.